The Golden State Warriors have up to 4 future first-round picks they can trade. They have tradable contracts, pick swaps as well. Sources told me in the last few hours the Warriors will be incredibly aggressive in the marketplace to go find help to continue to retool around their big three of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. I'm told their priority is finding a playmaking wing defender or a center to add to this group. And a lot of it will come down to someone that Steve Kerr and the big three feel like will help this team and fits their culture and their identity. But one key player to keep an eye on this roster right now is forward Jonathan Kuminga. I'm told he's going to have a strong sign and trade market coming up. He's an exciting young wing player. Both sides are expected to have conversations commencing over the next several weeks ahead of free agency to see, is there a potential sign and trade landing spot that gives him a lucrative deal while also potentially bringing the Warriors some additional help for their roster, so both sides end up as winners in this.
The offseason is already here for the Warriors, and as usual, we're going to start hearing the trade rumors. We already have the first one, and actually makes sense. So we already know about Jonathan Kuminga. It's unlikely he's going to stay, and the sign and trade is expected. And I think Charania is really right in saying that the Warriors need to be aggressive. They will be aggressive, and they need to go for a center. I think a wing that is a defender as well is really hard to find in the league right now for an affordable price that the Warriors can pay. And I think everyone is tired of this small lineup that the Warriors have been playing and squeezing everything out of Draymond Green. I said in another video you can check in the channel that I actually think Draymond Green might not be part of the roster next season, and he could be part of a massive blockbuster trade. So you can check that video in the channel as well. Don't forget to subscribe. A lot of you are not subscribed yet. So let's see what rumor is the Warriors going for, and that's actually Brook Lopez. Let's see what Bob Marks said around it.
I think the one name to keep an eye on regarding that center position is Brook Lopez. Stanford grad, makes his home in Fresno. What is the number on a Brook Lopez type contract if you can get him on a one-year flyer here to patch up that center position? Because the center market is thin. When you look at Miles Turner, you're probably not going to afford to him. The next best guy out there is Brook Lopez. And the other thing is they've got 4 first-round picks that they can go out and be aggressive. The challenge now comes with cobbling together enough salary to go out and make a type of trade to get as you said, a Vucevic type player.
Before we talk about Brook Lopez, I'm going to show you the stats, his current salary. He's an unrestricted free agent, right? So he could come for the Warriors. The Warriors don't need to involve any trade on that. But this news here, it's actually really important. The Warriors are super close this season of their the apron, right? And it's expected to increase for next season. So as you can see, it should jump to around 195 million. We're going to look at the salary cap space for the Warriors for next season and how that's important, because obviously that influences how much we would be able to pay for Brook Lopez or any other players that we bring. And we still need to consider that the Warriors right now in 171 without Jonathan Kuminga. So we would be a total of 24 million under the first apron, and that's the limit that we have. So how much would be the Warriors have, and how much they would be willing to give Brook Lopez? Like, he's a 37-year-old, right? So let's start looking at some things. And I went actually to Twitter, and I want to show that to you. I was like, let's see what people are actually already talking about Brook Lopez. And there's a mixed feelings. A lot of you here happy. Some people saying that's actually this. I highlighted this one here. As you can see, give Brook Lopez the MLE. That is the medium level exception. That's the one that we use it to sign the Anthony Melton. And it would make sense. Like, it's possible depending on what else the Warriors do, right? Because there are a lot of rules with the mid-level exception. We're not going to get into details here, but we might have. Last year, we used $12 million to sign the Anthony Melton, which is a name that also the Warriors fans keep asking because he was performing well, right? Remember that stretch that we have in the beginning of the season, a lot of it was related with Melton, and when he got injured, it was the decline of that stretch that we had, right? So there's a lot of opinions here. Some people saying he's too old, some highlighting other options, which I will talk in other videos as well. I will anticipate. I don't think Lopez is the best option that we have. I think is one that makes sense. But there are two other names that I think is particularly more interesting. I'm going to talk in a future video as well here. But there are a lot of highlights. You see the number of blocks that he has. We're going to show some of the stats. Here's the news that I just showed to you. So it's a lot of opinions here about how Brook Lopez would pair in the team. So let's look at his current salary, right? So right now, as I said, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. He could sign for anything, but he's doing 23 million. And that's a challenge, right? That's if he's finding something in the league that it's going to be around what he does right now, which I don't think we will. But if you want something close to that, you would take too much of the available space that the Warriors have. And why we need to be careful with this, because we have to fulfill the roster, right? The 14 spots. And we occupy, if we're not doing any other trades, let's say, we occupy a lot of that with Draymond, Jim Butler, and Stephen Curry, and we are losing GP2 and Looney, right? So that 171, it's already not counting with Looney, GP2, and Kuminga on the roster. So we would have to fulfill those space as well. So it's a fact of like, when you look to the stats, right, you can see that one thing that I want to highlight about Brook Lopez numbers, which I think is something that the Warriors should look. He has size. He's strong. He can shoot threes, and he's like above 50% when he's shooting from the perimeter for threes, which is a stretch big that the Warriors haven't had. We have a little bit on Quinten Post. So I also like the fact that he could mentor Quinten Post a little bit about it. But he's not a great rebounder. And I think one thing that the Warriors should look for in a center right now is size, is someone that is capable of grabbing those rebounds. If you can set up those screens, but you can also have someone there that maybe shoot less, but can grab those rebounds, because the idea is to build around like the style that we have, right? Stephen Curry, other shooters, maybe Buddy Hield's still going to be part of. So you have those guys. Pods that has been on and off, Moses Moody. We don't know exactly what other players will be there, but I do think when you're getting that sizable center, we need to look for a strong name in the rebounding stats. That's something that I want to see more. And that's why Brook Lopez, for me, I'm less concerned about the age. Let's talk that in a second. But I want someone that can grab rebounds, and maybe a Steven Adden, a Daniel Gafford. I'm going to talk about these names in a future video. So the age, right, is the concern that you saw on Twitter. Some people are putting there. I'm not concerned, because at the end of the day, the Warriors are trying to stretch Stephen Curry opportunity for another ring, right? So he has 2 more years of contract. So if you bring a guy that is 37 for 1 more year, for 2 years, maybe it makes sense for me, because that's the window where we are trying to fulfill. And the fact that Brook Lopez is a unrestricted free agent, it's great, because at the end of the day, the Warriors are trying their best effort to stretch Stephen Curry's window without sacrificing a lot more of their future, right? AKA first round picks. So that's why this name for me, it's interesting, because he's available. The other ones, Adams is a restricted free agent. Daniel Gafford has a contract with the Dallas Mavericks. Other centers in the league, they have as well, right? And then just want to add one cherry on top of all of this. We believe, I think everyone believes that, as I said in the last video, you can check in the channel, that the Warriors will go for Giannis. And Lopez has played with Giannis as well, so you can get off that synergy as well. So there's a lot of interesting factors on why Brook Lopez is a good name for the Warriors, right? So I think it makes sense. Let's look at the salary cap, what I was saying, right? So when you look at the 2025-26 season, the Warriors are 181. That includes the 10 million that Kuminga could get, and he's not getting it. So 171. The apron space is supposed to jump to 195. So the Warriors has 24 million. Plus the mid-level exception, which depends a lot the amount that they can use. Last year they had 12. They could have more or less of that depending on where they are with the other things. So, and as you see, we don't have Pat Spencer, Kevin Lewin, Gary Payton, and Kuminga. So it's 4 players. Now we need to fulfill those spots as well. So you got to be mindful how much you use to bring this other guy, because unless you're doing other trades to send money away, and that's very challenging right now. And that's actually one thing that can also play in favor of the Warriors signing Brook Lopez, is that reality is like no one in the league other than the Brooklyn Nets have a lot of cap space to use and to actually offer a sizable package for Brook Lopez or any other players in the league right now. Everyone is trying to make their best effort to send money away and then receive. Like the trades right now are all around as well, not just getting the players that you need, but matching the salary space that you have. So that can play in favor of the Warriors, because I don't think Brook Lopez will get anything like those 23 million for next season. And then it might become something interesting for him to come for a real shot and opportunity, because I do believe that the Warriors will make all the effort that they can to give this space. We did what I agree with what Draymond Green said the other day. The most difficult part was getting a guy like Jim Butler. Now it's building around those two, Jim Butler and Stephen Curry, and bringing more skill set and making the right trades to increase the opportunity that we have for next season. So the Warriors, I think, in the right path. I think Brook Lopez makes sense. Is not the best center option that we have out there in the league, but is one that I think is the low-hanging fruit and something that we can catch, and it would add value. It would increase our skill set, it would increase our size. It's a guy that we don't have in the roster right now, and it can make an impact. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see Brook Lopez in the Warriors jersey, if it makes sense for you, or which other name you think is better than that for the Warriors right now. Have a great day, and bye.